Thank you, Mr. Sampson. So again, good evening, happy fall to everyone. I hope everyone's family and friends are safe and well during this pandemic. And, thank you for all that you do to advocate on behalf of students with disabilities in Prince George's County. I would like to bring you some updates this evening. So Marcy's going to advance the slide for us. So one of the things that we have done, and I did verify with our web team, that all of our dates of upcoming support group meetings are on the website under the calendar. So we have assembled, the team has worked really hard to give you a list of family support center sessions that will be held throughout the year. And we really have two focuses of those parent support sessions. One is around just parent survival skills for distance learning. So there's a variety of topics, everything from thinking about your mental health and mental well-being, helping you with strategies to support the schedule of your child with a disability at home, and some other techniques. The other strand is support groups for really supporting parents with managing challenging behaviors as part of the virtual environment. And then we also wanted to make sure that you knew the upcoming dates. So we have listed them here on this slide. On November 12th from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, we'll have our parent survival skills for distance learning support group. On November 19th from 6:30 to 8, we'll have our support group for parents of students with challenging behaviors. And then on November 7th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we'll have our strategies to help sustain attention during distance learning. Again, these support sessions have been tailored based on our parent surveys and emails and different dialogues we've had with parents since the summer and school starting. So they're really tailored to focus on what our parents have asked for. So I strongly encourage you to sign up. Keep in mind that if you're unable to attend, if there's a presentation portion of the meeting, we always post that on our YouTube channel. The other thing that we're so excited to share with you is that we had held our first virtual transitioning youth virtual fair, which was held on October 26th. And that gave an opportunity for our Prince George's County families and the Prince George's County Provider Council to really join in a panel discussion. We had those of you who know Liz Verley. She spent many years in the school system as our secondary transition extraordinaire, and she moderated the session. I just want to give an opportunity, if Marcy can just click on that link real quick, that just takes you to the actual site that has been built. It has wonderful information. So I strongly encourage all of our parents to go out to our virtual transitioning youth fair. We've kicked that site off this year. And so I'm so proud and happy with our secondary transition team that are really allowing parents to have up-to-date information as it relates to secondary transition. They're going to put all of the upcoming TY fairs. We also do a college, as you know, a virtual college day or a face-to-face if we're able to, but all the information, kind of a one-stop shop. We have linkages to all of the agencies that support our students with transitioning youth, as well as the providers and family resources. So we wanted to make sure that you knew about that new site that we just launched. The other update that I wanted to share with you is that we are in the process, very close to resuming educational assessments. And I think all of you know, I've shared updates with you, at the end of the last school year, as well as the beginning of this school year, that it has been quite an effort to be able to move forward with resuming our educational assessments. We had to consult with our Prince George's County Health Department, our health office within the school system, legal counsel, security services, and Dr. Goldson and others to make this possible. You also know that when COVID-19 hit and we ended school and started this virtual learning on March 16th in terms of homework packets, and then transition to being able to provide distance learning for our students, that Congress nor did Betsy DeVos relax any of the timelines associated with the Individuals with Disability Education Act. And so all timelines and timeframes still remain. However, giving our large district, we really had to work, and we put together a cross-functional team this summer that looked at options that we could explore. And so we really are looking at kind of this three-prong approach. We will be resuming virtual assessments, both with our speech and language pathologists, as well as our early childhood assessments beginning November 2nd. And then the following week, we will be working to resume face-to-face assessments. We will have 6 assessment centers located throughout Prince George's County. So I'll just let you know where those centers will be located for students who may need face-to-face assessments that are part of our early childhood programs. We will have the northern location will be Francis Fuchs Early Childhood Center. The central location will be H. Winsett Wheatley, ECC, and then on the southern end, it will be James Ryder Randall. Our K-12 locations, so school-age students, our northern location will be Beltsville Academy. Our central location will be John Carroll, and then our southern location would be Jesse B. Mason. We're in the process of releasing a guidance memo to our principals this week that gives them additional information. I do want you to know as parents that we are prioritizing the initial first push of making up those assessments. We have some students where consent was given from parents back in February that we have not completed those assessments. So we are working through kind of 4 categories. Those students who have initial suspected disability that we have not had an opportunity to test. Those are students who currently do not have an IEP. There's a suspected disability. And so we need to be able to assess them to determine if they would qualify as a child with a disability under IDEA. Our next group of students are students who may have the developmental delay. We have about 65 of those students. The law says that by their 8th birthday, we have to determine a different disability category. We cannot no longer use developmental disability as the disability category. So we have roughly about 65 of those students. We also are making sure that if there are any students coming out of our early childhood center that we are suspecting may need to go to a specific type of special ed program, that we are making sure that we assess them, that they have a cognitive assessment. If we are suspecting, for example, autism or suspecting they have a significant cognitive disability, we want to make sure that we're firm with that and can really share that with parents. And then we have another category of students who will be transitioning or exiting from Prince George's County, and they definitely need to have an updated assessment done, particularly for students who will be served under DDA, as well as DOORS. And so that's our first kind of approach of how we're categorizing. And then behind that, we also have students who would have had a reeval consent signed, but we did not get a chance to do the assessment. And then we also are giving our school teams additional guidance on how to look at reevaluation and really guiding questions that help them focus on if the student would need an assessment. So we're really working through that. And parents, I know it's been difficult and challenging as we've worked through that, but I want to assure you that we are doing the best that we can to the fullest extent possible to work through our educational assessments. So there will be a combination of Prince George's County employees providing those assessments. We did a survey to find out who was comfortable doing face-to-face or virtual. And then we also have signed a contract with Presence Learning to be able to provide virtual assessments for our students as well. So we're hoping that with this different tiered approach of supporting the educational assessments, that we hopefully will be able to make up all of those assessments that we're behind. We will be providing each school data based on those students where we've gotten consent so that they can help facilitate those conversations with parents. I want to assure all parents that at our face-to-face sites, we are following all CDC guidelines in terms of mask wearing, making sure that we have plexiglass between the assessor and the student and some other requirements that we are required to follow. So I did want to definitely give you that update. For those of you who may be in that situation where you've given consent and Prince George's County did not finish the assessments or there's an upcoming reeval, your case manager will be in the process of reaching out to you as soon as the guidance memo comes out to principals, and then we schedule the follow-up training with our chairperson. So I did want to give you that update. I think now I'll turn it over to the presentation. I think we're beginning with our Assistive Technology team for technology in time of quarantine.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that's all right. Okay. So we're going to start with introductions for our assistive technology team. My name is Kiara Pusey, and I'm a new member of the assistive technology team. A little bit of background: I was a special ed teacher in Howard County Public Schools for 4 years before transitioning to Prince George's County to join their AT team.
And my name is Francesca Kroback. I'm a certified speech language pathologist and assistive technology professional, and I'm also a member of the PGCPS Assistive Technology team.
Okay. And we're here to talk to you all today about assistive technology during this time of quarantine and accessible tools to support students with learning barriers during distance learning.
Will these slides be available to us after the training?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So our first slide, we're going to discuss a little bit about Universal Design for Learning. UDL guides the design of learning experiences to proactively meet the needs of all learners. When you see UDL, you assume that barriers to learning are in the design of the environment and not the student. UDL is based on brain science and evidence-based educational practices. It also leverages the power of digital technology, and it focuses specifically on the engagement, which is the why of learning, representation, which is the what of learning, and action and expression, which is the how of learning. Universal Design for Learning can look a bunch of different ways. And an example that I like to use is when I was in the classroom and we were teaching our children and students about coming of age, and they were reading the book Rule of Thunder, Hear My Cry. So in that specific example, we had our students watch a video about coming of age, and it was a music video from the Tarzan movie. And the students really were able to dissect the lyrics and kind of follow along with the music video and relate that back to the Roll of Thunder book and kind of explore how Tarzan comes of age, and in comparison about some of how the students from the book Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry come of age. And as they were dissecting the lyrics, they were able to make connections, and they were able to kind of apply some of the different concepts that they had been discussing throughout the unit. So it kind of took a break from the typical read the book and answer the comprehension questions and really allowed them to delve into different examples through media, multimedia, and music. So I like to think of that as a different example of how you can get students to access engagement and representation through instruction.
You're being asked to speak louder.
Okay.
Sure. So instructional technology is the theory and practice of using technology for education. Instructional technology is used to create engaging and effective learning experiences. Instructional technology can help students to engage in active learning by interacting with materials and engage in deeper learning by creating materials themselves. It can allow teachers to increase access, enhance learning experiences, and provide new opportunities for students. So instructional technology includes hardware and software and the instructional design process that implements these tools. It may include Apple, Windows, and Chromebook devices. It may include digital tools in G Suite, such as Google Docs and Google Slides. The Chrome Web Store contains extensions, including those specifically recommended by PGCPS. Assistive technology devices are any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product system, whether acquired commercially off the shelf, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of students with disabilities. An assistive technology service is any service that directly assists a student with a disability in selection, acquisition, or use of an assistive technology device. Assistive technology helps people who have difficulties with tasks including speaking, typing, writing, remembering, and learning. Assistive technology devices can include built-in accessibility tools, communication boards, and reading and writing tools. The classification of tools into various categories, including UDL, IT, and AT, depends on who is using the tools and for what purposes.
Okay. Assistive technology is not something that we consider to be one size fits all. Feature matching is a systematic process by which a person's strengths, abilities, and needs are matched to potential tools and strategies. It is important to know about the individual and about the tools and features of those tools to select what would be appropriate for the student based on their specific needs and tasks. There are a range of questions to be asked in a feature matching discussion, and a range of tools that could be used depending on the needs of the individual. So the SETT framework is something that you might hear when you're working with an assistive technology consultant. And it is a process that we use in order to drive AT decisions in a manner that is student focused rather than device focused. So we really want to hone in on needs of the students as opposed to the device. Going through the framework helps to pinpoint specific student needs, and that lets the team know which direction to go when it comes to tools and devices. SETT is a framework to ensure that necessary information has been gathered and displayed in a format that will assist in making AT decisions. What does the student need to be able to do that difficult or impossible task independently? What are the student's strengths? What are the student's needs? What are the customary environments where the student is limited by their challenges? What assistive tools are currently available in those environments? What features of the currently available tools have helped to support that student? What about the current tools that are not working to support the student? During which tasks is the student experiencing difficulty in that environment? How have tasks been modified to accommodate the student's special needs? What elements currently support the student with the identified tasks? And what tasks is the student still unable to complete? We consider what no tech, low tech, and high tech might look like, as well as services, strategies, training, accommodations, modifications, and tools that may improve the student's performance. So why use the SETT framework? Well, to answer it simply, it ensures that individuals are receiving the tools that best meet their needs, which can ultimately level the playing field. And when we consider SETT during distance learning and this remote time, we really want to consider the environment and how it looks different and how students' needs will be met differently compared to how they would otherwise look in the classroom. So we still use the same framework and just consider differences and other ways that we can support the student and their families outside of the classroom.
Some built-in tools include Chromebook accessibility features, Apple accessibility features, Windows ease of access features, G Suite features, and Chrome Web Store extensions. Accessibility features are also available on mobile devices, including iPhones and Android phones. Devices often provide similar accessibility features with different names, including text-to-speech or TTS, which reads aloud digital text, and speech-to-text or dictation, which helps students write words by speaking them aloud. The Chromebook Help website provides instructions for how to find and turn on accessibility features, as well as details regarding specific features. Chromebooks include text-to-speech, display, keyboard, mouse and touchpad, and audio accessibility features. Display features support users with vision impairments. Students who have difficulties typing may utilize keyboard features. Students who have difficulties using the cursor may utilize mouse and touchpad features. And students who have more difficulty hearing in one ear than another may utilize audio features.
The Apple operating systems have built-in accessibility features that are intended to mitigate some of the challenges that individuals face when accessing technology. Included are some of the commonly used features that individuals with vision, hearing, and or mobility challenges might benefit from. It is important to note that different operating systems often use different names. For example, Apple products use Siri, which is a tool that has voiceover that allows an individual to speak into the system and navigate, whereas PC uses something called Cortana, and Cortana is a tool that essentially does the same thing, but it is used through Microsoft as well as the Bing software.
The Microsoft support website provides instructions for how to find and turn on accessibility features, as well as details regarding specific features for Windows PCs. PCs include vision, hearing, and interaction ease of access features. Vision features include display, cursor and pointer, magnifier, color filters, and text-to-speech options. Hearing features include audio and closed captions options. Interaction features include speech, keyboard, and mouse options.
G Suite for Education is a suite of tools that can help with increasing opportunities for critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity, all while supporting learning objectives for students. G Suite for Education offers free Google tools and services that are tailored for schools. Students in PGCPS access G Suite through their county accounts and are able to access all of their work and tasks through the Google Drive, which is where all of their documents are housed. Google has many useful built-in features that help eliminate venturing or the need to venture outside of the Google Drive to seek support. Some of these useful features include spelling and grammar check, dictionary and thesaurus support, and suggested edits to documents. These tools can be essential in assisting and supporting students through the writing process.
Voice typing in Google Docs is a speech-to-text feature that allows students to type with their voices. Near the top of the Google Doc window, select Tools and select Voice Typing. Select the microphone and begin speaking when it turns red. Speak clearly at a typical volume and pace. Click the microphone again when you're done speaking.
The Chrome web, sorry, go ahead.
Students may correct mistakes without turning off the microphone by moving the cursor to the mistakes. Students may right-click words underlined in gray to see lists of suggestions. Students may use voice commands to edit and format their documents.
Okay, now we're going to discuss a little bit about the Chrome Web Store. So the Web Store is Google's online store for which Chrome uses their browser. Within the Chrome Web Store, there are many useful learning tools and extensions that can be added to a student's account and displayed on the option bar at the top of their Chrome browser. The Web Store can be located by simply Googling the Web Store in the Google search bar.
Read Aloud, a text-to-speech voice reader, is one of the extensions available in the Chrome Web Store. It reads out loud the current web page article with one click of the extension icon in the top right corner of the screen. It supports over 40 languages, and options include changing the voice, speed, pitch, volume, and turning on or off text highlighting. Read Aloud is able to read PDFs.
Immersive Reader is a tool that implements proven techniques to improve reading and writing for students. It also can improve comprehension to increase fluency for students who are English learners, and it can also help build confidence for emerging readers, learning to read at higher levels, and offers text decoding solutions for students with learning differences such as dyslexia. Newsela is an additional tool that can be found in the Google Chrome Web Store. It is an instructional content tool that allows students to find articles with appropriate reading levels. Newsela articles also feature questions and writing prompts that align with Common Core standards. This is another tool that supports students to access instruction in order to access their appropriate reading level.
Digital text for audio text to speech, may be found through Prince George's County Memorial Library System's Libby website or app, or Destiny Discover ebooks and audiobooks. Tar Heel Reader is a collection of easy to read and accessible books on a wide range of topics. A built-in text-to-speech reader includes options for a child's, woman's, or man's voice. Other options include page and text colors and page button sizes. Users may write their own books using provided or uploaded pictures.
Clever is Prince George's County's digital learning platform. It is a centralized online location for resources, communication, and instruction. It requires a single sign-on, and everything is a click away for students, families, and educators. Graphic organizers are a useful educational tool that can be used in any subject area. They help students to organize their thoughts and ideas as it pertains to answering questions, and function as pre-writing tools for essays, and provide a visual display of information. Graphic organizers can be a useful way to differentiate instruction for a variety of learning styles. We have included links for a variety of different organizers that can be downloaded and utilized by students. Visual aids for writing can help to build connections, clarify words, explain abstract ideas, help draw conclusions, and increase understanding. They can also support with providing aids and assistance for students who have trouble with phonetics of writing, which usually pertains to spelling and decoding. Some examples of visual aids for writing include word walls, which are a literacy tool composed of an organized collection of words, which are displayed in a large visible letter on a wall, bulletin board or display surface, or spelling chart, which is a list of commonly misspelled words for students who typically have challenges with spelling and decoding. An additional tool that we have for writing are editing checklists, and we have two examples displayed. And editing checklists are a tool that allows students to have reminders of the specific pieces of writing that they need to incorporate as they're going through the writing process. And they typically have reminders for the students so that they can be independent in self-checking their work.
Students with severe speech and/or language disorders use unaided and aided AAC to enhance communication. Adults use AAC to model expressive language. Modeling language using AAC helps students learn how to use language to communicate. Using aided language stimulation, communication partners point to pictures while simultaneously producing spoken words. AAC use can help improve natural speech when instruction focuses on a multimodal approach. AAC use can help decrease the frequency of challenging behaviors caused by frustration or communication breakdowns. Core vocabulary is a small set of simple words that are used frequently and across contexts. Core vocabulary words make up about 80% of the words used by most people every day. PGCPS uses 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 symbol core vocabulary boards with our students. Fringe vocabulary includes lower frequency words, which are content specific. PGCPS uses 60 symbol fringe vocabulary boards, including math, literacy, and social studies vocabulary words. Some other accessible AAC resources include PRC Saltillo's communication boards, lesson plans, activities, and resources from AAC Language Lab, and BoardMaker Activities to Go thematic leveled printable activities. The AbleNet Action Dictionary may be downloaded on the iBookstore and viewed on devices that are able to view EPUBs, including certain iPads, iPhones, and iPods. AbleNet identified various action words and created a dictionary that provides tools and techniques for engaging students around these actions. Each action word includes a description and instructor directions. For example, the word count provides a picture symbol and the description to name numbers in order to find the total number of units. The instructor directions state, there are many opportunities for students to count during the day, including counting money, votes, tokens, points in a game, people present at an event, amount of food on a tray, etc. And lastly, visuals can help teach social skills, communicate directions or expectations, indicate important details, and prepare students for change. Visuals from Google Images and various other accessible websites may be used to support students who have difficulties understanding or producing language. So thank you for the opportunity to meet with you tonight. During the designated public comment time, we'll take any questions or comments.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Real quick, I wanted to have District 4 School Board member, looks like Mr. Brian Swan has joined us for our meeting tonight. If Mr. Swan could unmute himself and say hi to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Brian Swan, District 4 Board of Education member here. Thanks for having us this evening. I've joined a little late. I had an academic committee meeting that just ended at 7 o'clock, so I jumped on a little late, but I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for coming to our meeting this evening. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kroback and Ms. Pusey, very much. Ms. Houston, are you ready to go?
I am, and it's funny that we're going to be talking about technology, and I am probably going to struggle a little bit with technology, but that's all part of the presentation that we have for you tonight. I am the instructional specialist for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program, and we were, I guess, put into the deep end of the swimming pool. I think if you didn't learn how to swim this way, you've probably seen movies or images or talked to people where you were pushed into the deep end and you either learned to swim or you sank. When we went home abruptly in March, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program found ourselves kind of in that situation where we needed to learn quickly how to accommodate and adjust instruction to make sure the needs of our students were met. And for some of you are probably thinking, oh, this is time for me to go get some coffee or take a break because she's going to talk about deaf and hard of hearing. But I do want to say what we've learned can be applied to any student, regardless if they have a hearing loss or what their disability code, or if they don't have a disability at all. We learned that these strategies can be applied to any situation because deaf and hard of hearing, because you can't hear all of the sounds, you don't have full access to speech, it actually presents itself as a communication issue. So your student may have difficulty expressing him or herself or being able to understand what's being said to him or herself, and sometimes technology can help or hinder that process. We've identified a few salient needs once we transitioned to distance learning. We were faced with the accessibility features within the platforms we were using. Until recently, within, I would say, a month and a half, Zoom did not have the ability to run live captions. We can now do that. Why? Because when the entire country was thrust into online learning, everybody was like, wow, hey, we need to have captions scroll across the bottom of the screen. So Zoom was responsive, and now they have that. So we're excited about the different platforms are beginning to develop in platform features that we are able to use. Visual split attention. We have, sometimes the screen will have a myriad of things happening at the same time. There's a picture over here, there's words scrolling over here, there's an animation over there, then there's a teacher in the box over there. And the children had to wander around the screen and determine what they needed to look like, to look at what particular time. So we began to talk to our teachers in the gen ed setting, as well as in the deaf and hard of hearing programs, how to set up your lesson, how to present visually online to prevent our students from having to split their attention. We also found fatigue. And I think this is across the board. Some of the adults as well will say being online all day can be stressful. It can be tiring. What we found as educators, for students with a hearing loss, they need to watch the screen constantly. For many of you who are watching the presentation tonight, you can look away from the screen, you can look out the window, you can watch the person getting a glass of water and still be able to hear my presentation. If you are relying on the visual, if somebody is using ASL, sign language, or you're a hard of hearing student and you need to get the visual cues from your teacher's lips, if you look away from the screen, you've missed instruction. And we've also looked at accessible language. Back to the captions. If I don't read on grade level yet, and the person is speaking using the grade level vocabulary, I don't have access to the language because I can't read what the instruction is at that particular time. What we've decided is we could not approach our accommodations and adjustment and instruction with a cookie cutter approach. One size doesn't fit all, every student is unique. And we just couldn't throw out all of our accommodations at one time for each student because more isn't better, it's just more. Sometimes it becomes more of a problem if you're giving students accommodations for things that they aren't ready for, they don't need. So we've been very careful to not use everything for everybody at the same time. How did we achieve that? We use a multidisciplinary team, which includes all of the people going around the little graphic. We work with the students, the parents, what are you seeing at home when they're sitting in front of the computer, what's happening? And then we involve the people that are the related service providers on that IEP based on what skills we've identified, the student's age, their access to language, the amount of help they have at home, their personal amplification system, and our available technology and software. And using all of that, we're able to come up with a unique support system for each student. Our biggest takeaway is the need to be flexible. Times change, the students from day to day change depending on mood, depending on what's happened earlier that day or what they may anticipate later on in the afternoon. So every support will be different. Accommodations change across the settings. The things that we were able to put in place and they needed when they were in-person learning, some of that didn't apply when we moved to distance learning. So we took away some accommodations and added some. So we have to be flexible. Our response to the needs that we've identified, we were able to meet with general education teachers and we provided workshops and sessions on how to create visually accessible presentations and videos, how to add captions to their lessons and videos, practicing etiquette for Zoom and Google Meets. For a student with a hearing loss or communication disability, attention disability, you may have conversations and discussions go on, which is great, but on a Zoom or Google Meet, you need to give the student wait time to locate the speaker, wait time to have everybody not speaking at the same time, especially when captions are going on, because then nothing is captioned. In some instances, I believe PowerPoints, the Google Slides, don't identify the speaker. So it's one long sentence without punctuation, without telling you who's speaking. So the student then has to wait, okay, did the teacher say that? Did a student say that? So they're still trying to figure out who's talking. Implementing deaf messaging methods and strategies, and understanding the impact of hearing loss in a virtual classroom were also shared with our teachers and families. Some of the other things that we've put in place and that we're working on, providing American Sign Language for classes for our parents. What we've discovered that not all of our parents are fluent in sign language, and if they are now helping their children with the work, they needed to be able to speak the same language. For other families that are using sign language, when the curriculum came home and now they're trying to teach the 3 branches of government, they don't know the sign for judicial and executive and all of that. So we were able to come in and provide that support. Some of our teachers are also providing social time. Again, if the students are sign language dependent, they may not have a lot of social outlets other than their classmates. So some of the time over lunch or at the end of the day is spent just, hey, how's it going with you? What are you doing? Were you playing video games last night or something, just so that they have an opportunity to still be engaged with their peers. We've added ASL interpretation to pre-recorded videos and lessons and assemblies. We have a work group that's working now on enrichment activities, things that we can do after school that we weren't able to do when we were in person because our students rely on transportation. Our kids come to central locations from all over the county, and being able to get home if they wanted to stay late for a drama club, parents may not have been able to do that. So if we are now online, everybody can attend. So we're really excited about getting those up and running. And then we're also teaching students to use their accessibility features. For those of you on PCs right now, there's some features that you can activate on your side that may help you with the presentation. If you needed to make a video bigger, you can hover in the right-hand corner of anybody's video, and there's 3 little dots. If you click the dot, it can tell you to pin the person. Sometimes you have the ability to spotlight the person so that no matter what the teacher is showing that goes in and out, if you pin the teacher, she will always be, or he will always be on the screen so that you can read lips, or if they're signing, you can see the signs of the interpreter. Adding captions. This was huge for us for the upper level students. And we were able to, with the help of our deaf and hard of hearing audiologist, Dr. Michelle Malta, has made videos that we've sent out to the teachers. Some of the parents have requested assistance in getting them started, so they've been sent there. The one I'm most excited about is the second one, adding captions with MS Translator. Not only can we run what's going on in the classroom for the students, but this can also be used for parents who do not speak the same language as the teacher. The teacher can set up the link, the parent holds their phone to the screen to capture a QR code and put in whatever language they want. So as the teacher is speaking, it's now scrolling across the parent's phone in their native language so that they are able to assist their student who's sitting next to them. Supports to families with the stuff you already have at home, that you don't have to go out and buy anything new and additional. We've made it a point to go in and ask families, well, what do you have? And one of them, most salient needs, is how to use the personal hearing equipment that came in their boxes from their audiologist. Students have the ability to plug directly into their devices on some hearing aids in CI units. So our audiologists were helpful in getting the home personal equipment as well as school system issued sound equipment set up in their homes. Again, how-to videos are available if anybody here has a need and we've already developed a solution or a workaround, we would love to share that with you as well. You don't have to be a student in the deaf and hard of hearing program for us to do that. We're one big, happily PGCPS family. How to optimize your space for your student with the technology that you have. It's important that whatever has been assigned or determined by their team is used and used consistently at home. A lot of times parents will say, oh, well, we're home and they can hear. Well, they can, but it may not be optimal. So if your student has been assigned an AT device, please use it and use it consistently so that when they're using it at the time of instruction, it's not something new or foreign. They already have developed the not comfortability. I'm making up words now, so it's probably not going to scroll right on if you're using captions. But if they're already comfortable using that technology, it makes instruction a little bit easier. When you're assisting them setting up the study area at home, it's important that you're aware of what distractions could be around your student. Somebody else on the side is watching TV, or people are having conversations, their siblings that are playing in the background. That can be a distraction for your child in terms of being able to hear. When you have on your hearing aid device, the microphone will pick up everything in the surroundings. So now they're not only trying to hear what's happening on their computer, but they're getting a lot of information from other places. Creating the learning space in an area with noise or reverberation reduction, that's just a fancy way of saying echo. It's the effect that you have when there's not a lot of furniture in the room or there's not a carpet. It sounds like an echo. That can be a distraction for students. Making sure the lighting is good. My husband came in a minute ago. He's like, why is every light on in the house? I'm like, well, I want the people on Zoom to see me. It's important that your lighting is good. If your student is responsible for adding into discussions or responding, or the teacher just wants to see their expression to see if they're following along or paying attention, the lighting needs to be in front of the student and not in the back. If the lighting source is in the back, your child will be a silhouette on the screen as opposed to being able to be seen. Managing sensory information. There's a lot that happens during a Zoom or Google Meet. There are people that are putting things in the chat. Somebody else might have their microphone unmuted and we're hearing stuff that we don't need right then. The volume can go up and down sometimes from one speaker to the next. It's loud, soft. The classmates are on camera. Some of them are eating, or some of them are playing on their phone, or they're doing other things. The brightness of the screen could also become a distraction for a student who is having sensory overload. Not to mention that if it's new content, that's going to be a challenge for the student to learn as well. So you want to make sure that you can reduce as many distractions on your end as you can, and practice with your child, asking them periodically, are you able to hear? Are you able to focus? You know, what do we need to change? And they can tell you, you know, my daughter, whenever I look at her iPad or her screen or computer, when she's showing me something, I'm like, is it on? And, you know, I have to get really close. She prefers her screen really dark. I can't see anything on it. When she looks at my computer, she's like, wow, you know, can you turn that down? So what works for you may not be the best for your students. So that kind of dialogue needs to happen on a regular basis so that you figure out what works best in your home. Again, it was mentioned in the presentation before this one that there are built-in accessibility features in a lot of the electronics you have at home. You might want to just kind of scroll through the accessibility category that I rarely use just because I like the volume of the screen and that's about all I use. but there is text to speech, speech to text, screen readers, volume controls that you really want to learn where they are and how to use them on a moment's notice. Another really cool feature that I learned to love is on YouTube. If you hover in the lower right-hand corner of a YouTube video where the closed caption symbol and the setting symbols, when you click the settings, you have the option to change the playback speed of videos. So if the information is going by really quickly and you know that your student hasn't had a chance to really understand what was going on, you can hit playback and slow it down progressively until you find a speed that is optimal for your student. And it will also slow the captions down as well as the voicing. The last thing that I wanted to share, this I guess would be a low-tech kind of accessibility feature, and it's just a brain break. After a while, your brain, because you're having to focus visually, auditorily, absorbing information, trying to stay focused, when you become tired, you're no longer at your optimal and able to learn. So giving your student 5 minutes away, when the teacher says, okay, it's break time, please let them take a break. They need to get up, go to the bathroom, maybe walk around, do 5 jumping jacks so that they have a chance to refresh and come back and be ready to learn. I had reserved this page for questions. I don't know if we're reserving all questions for the later question and answer period, so I will defer to the meeting host for that. But I'm going to stop sharing now because this is the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Houston. Yeah, we'll defer those to comment section. Looks like we're running just a little bit behind schedule. Ms. Spencer, are you ready?
I am ready and I will be quick.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for this opportunity to share. I'm going to share my screen, and I am the Director for Instructional Technology. So after you have set up your devices with all the accessibility features as needed, you can go to our website. We actually have created some resources specifically for our parents. So if you go to our parent distance learning page, you can scroll further down, and once you, depending on which tools you are asked to use during your for your child's learning, we have resources for the different tools that are in use by our teachers to deliver instruction. So depending on what you're looking for, most of it can be found here. And if you get in a situation and you find that you need something else and it's not here, please contact the training team. You can reach us at T3. The T3 stands for the Technology Training Team. If you just email T3@PGCPS and just let us know what your needs are. And if the information that is on this page or on the other iPad page, if it's not there, let us know, and we will definitely make sure that it's made available for you. When you go to the different pages, you will see that there's going to be some resources that are available, and the different icons. Of course, this is going to show you a video. The other pieces would be when they're just going to show you documentation or a manual with step-by-step instructions. So anything that you need, we are trying to make it available because you are our partner and we want to make sure that we are all successful in ensuring that our students or your children are indeed able to learn. So the other piece is, whoops, I'm sorry. Let me go back to my page. Let me get this out of the way. All right, here we go. Sorry. The other part is the iPad setup. For those of you who have iPads that you're utilizing, again, the same types of resources are made available, whether it's going to be the manual or the step-by-step resource documentation, or an actual tutorial that's walking you through step-by-step for setup. We do have a web filter, so some of the apps that were mentioned for you to go to like the web store to download some apps, if you are in a lot of instances, you're not going to be able to download them on your own. But if you need to download them, you'll just need to contact the training team so that we can push the applications out. We have a number of those blocked for our students because there are some apps that are not appropriate, and we want to ensure that our students are safe online. So if you're unable to access some of the applications, let us know and we can push them out to you as needed. But again, the icon to see the video or the tutorials are going to be here, and then here is the documentation that will walk you through. I do also want to let you know that if you have trouble and you need some technical support, we have made available the hotline, so you can call the hotline and press 2 for tech support. But you can also email T3@PGCPS. If you have iPads specifically, on the documentation, I think that's being shared with you, there are 2 people that you can email, and they will definitely get back with you and take care of any iPad issues that you may be having. So here's a troubleshooting guide that you can use if you want to try it on your own. But if you're unable to take care of that independently, just email Jan or Jake, and they will definitely get back with you and support you in getting you up and running. So I guess I'll wait and we'll have questions. And I believe that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Spencer. We appreciate that. Ms. Holloway, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go.
Okay.
My name is Jennifer Holloway, and I'm the instructional specialist for Assistive Technology, which also includes accessibility. So we're going to just wrap up with just some more general accessibility supports on this one-page digital document that gives you links directly to accessibility tools, and especially for those accessibility tools that sometimes you're using that may not be PGCPS provided. But sometimes we just have to grab whatever's closest and know how to use that. So for example, when we select our Microsoft, when you select the Microsoft icon, and each block tells you what to do, it is actually going to take us slowly, but it will take us to the Microsoft website. And so on this site, you are able to see all of the accessibility features that Microsoft provides for you. And then it's broken down by what they need, whether it's vision, whether it's hearing, neurodiversity, and so on. So each one of those links in that block actually takes you to that site. And so for the sake of time, this will be given to you. The videos are actually videos that show you how accessibility features have been used by different individuals to create access for them in their environments. And we've also included just a couple of free web tools. Rewordify is one of the tools. It's just a free web-based tool that supports reading by simplifying difficult English and words. And you can cut and paste from anywhere into Rewordify to simplify that reading content. MathShare is also another tool that is free, web-based, and it's all about math and problem solving. And as we all know, that's one of the things that's most difficult to find support for is math. So MathShare, a completely free open source tool, which is done by Benetech, who are the same individuals that support Bookshare, which is by OSEP at the National Department of Education. And then also included here, you have a link to Natural Reader. And Natural Reader is, again, it's a tool that will convert text to speech for you. It does not level it like Rewordify does, but it does allow you to have that text to speech when necessary. And we also have our Prince George's County resources, which you just heard Ms. Spencer talk about, with our parent distance learning resources, the iPad setup. And there's also a parent autism resources there that leads you to their Bitmoji classroom that will provide additional resources. Should you need further support with any of these things, there's contact information. Jake and Jan